My dad took out a loan in my name when I was 17. I found out at 26 while applying for a home, my credit was ruined. When I called him, he said, "You wouldn't be where you are without that sacrifice." My mom told me to be grateful it wasn't worse. I tried to report it, but the bank said it was a family matter. I finally found the contract and the signature was forged. I hired a lawyer. What he found in the account history made me physically ill. I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor either. My dad was a mail carrier. My mom worked off and on retail, office temp jobs, babysitting neighbors' kids. Things felt okay when I was younger. We always had food. We always had heat in the winter. But behind all that, there was tension. I didn't understand it then. I do now. When I turned 26, I felt like I was finally getting ahead. I had a job that paid decent money, no major debts, and a few grand saved. My girlfriend and I had started talking about settling down. I wanted a house. Something small, affordable. I wasn't dreaming big. I was just trying to grow up. Then I applied for a mortgage. And everything fell apart. The broker called me after he ran my credit. "There's a charge-off," he said. "Big one. $27,000. It's been hurting your credit for years." I told him it had to be a mistake. I had student loans, yeah, but not that. "It was opened in 2014, he said. "That would have made you..." "What? 17? My mouth went dry. I asked for the details. The loan came from a bank called Midwest Trust. I called them right away. They made me go through security questions, my social, date of birth, old addresses. Then the woman on the phone confirmed it. "Yes, we show a personal loan opened in June 2014 under your name, $27,000. Final payment received December 2014. Went to collections mid-2015. Can I see the contract?" She emailed it. I opened it and just stared. The signature on the contract looked nothing like mine. It wasn't even close. Sloppy, older-style cursive. The kind of handwriting someone develops after decades of signing checks. My heart was pounding. I already knew. I knew. I didn't call him right away. I needed to calm down. I needed to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. I dug through some old documents. I had old high school files, college apps, anything with my real signature. Totally different. Then I called him. I was sweating. My throat was dry. He picked up like everything was normal. "Hey, bud. Everything okay? Did you take out a loan in my name when I was 17? He went quiet. Then he said, calm as anything, "I figured you'd find out eventually." "You did it? You stole my identity?" "I didn't steal anything," he said, like I was being dramatic. "I needed help. Your mom lost her job. We were behind on the mortgage. I figured you were going to college anyway, the debt would just blend in. You ruined my credit. You're doing fine. You've got a good job. You've made it. Don't act like you were some kind of victim." "I am a victim. That's a felony. You committed fraud. You think it was easy? I worked double shifts. I put food on that table. I kept the house. You'd be living in a shelter if I hadn't done what I did." That night, I didn't sleep. I just stared at my ceiling, thinking about every sacrifice I had made while he'd been playing God with my name. The next day, I called my mom. "You need to talk to Dad," she said, like I had caused some scene. "He's upset." "Upset? Mom, he committed identity theft. He lied. He forged my signature." "He's your father," she said, like that made it okay. "Be grateful it wasn't worse. Some kids have their credit destroyed by strangers." "Yeah, well, so did I. Only the stranger was my dad." She hung up. I tried to report it to the police. I brought them the contract, my ID, everything. The officer at the desk looked tired. "This is a family matter," he said. "We don't usually pursue things like this unless you're willing to press full charges. And even then, it's hard. These things are hard to prove. But it's not hard to prove. That signature isn't mine." He shrugged. "People do a lot of things in families they regret. You really want to send your dad to jail?" At the time, I didn't know the answer. So I called a lawyer instead. I found a guy through a friend, Joel Hartley. He was blunt, didn't sugarcoat anything. "I like that. You're not the first person I've seen in this position," Joel said. "Parents, brothers, exes, it happens more than you'd think. The trick is proving the forgery and tracking where the money went." He filed a request with the bank. It took a couple weeks, but we finally got the account history. That's when things got worse. Worse than I ever expected. The money wasn't used for the mortgage, or bills, or school. It was spent on casino trips, electronics, and hotel rooms. Some of it was even transferred into an account under the name Lisa B. A woman I'd never heard of. $9,400 in wire transfers. All within the first 4 months of the loan. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I showed the report to my mom. She looked at the papers, then looked away. "Who's Lisa?" I asked. "I don't know," she said, not meeting my eyes. "Mom, she was someone he knew back then. Someone he was sleeping with?" She didn't answer. That's when it hit me. He hadn't saved the family. He hadn't sacrificed anything. He'd used me to fund his affair. After I found out about the money and this woman, Lisa, everything changed. I wasn't just mad. I was done. I told my lawyer I wanted to press charges. He warned me it wouldn't be easy. Banks and courts are slow and family fraud cases often get brushed aside. But I told him I didn't care. "I want to burn this to the ground," I said. "I want the truth to come out." We started with a fraud affidavit. Joel had me sign sworn statements, and we sent copies of my real signature to a handwriting expert. The expert wrote back within 10 days, "Clear case of forgery." We sent that to Midwest Trust along with a demand to remove the loan from my credit report and open a formal fraud case. That's when the real pushback started. I got a letter from the bank. "We are reviewing your request, but due to the age of the loan and the relationship between borrower and alleged victim, this matter may be considered civil." They were stalling. Meanwhile, my mom started calling me nonstop. My dad had found out I hired a lawyer. He was furious. "You're dragging this family through the mud," she said. "Your father could lose his pension if this gets out." "Good," I said. A few days later, he showed up at my job. Just showed up in the parking lot while I was walking to my car. He looked smaller than I remembered. Tired, but still smug. "You really think this is worth it?" he said. "All this over a loan that helped us all?" "You mean helped you? So you could cheat on Mom?" His face dropped for a second, then he tried to smile it off. "You don't understand how hard things were." "I understand exactly what you are," I said. "A thief. And a liar. I'm still your father." "No," I said. "You stopped being that the moment you signed my name." He walked away without saying another word. That night, my brother called. We hadn't talked in months. He worked construction in Cincinnati. "Mom says you're trying to get Dad arrested." "I'm trying to get my name back." "She's a mess, man. Dad's been drinking every night." "She's scared." "She should have been scared before she covered for him." He didn't respond. Just sighed. "Do what you gotta do." A month later, Joel called me. "I think we've got something." He'd subpoenaed my dad's financials. In the process, he found something huge. One of the accounts tied to the loan funds had also been receiving deposits from Lisa's PayPal account. "I think she was blackmailing him," Joel said. Some of the notes on the transfers had labels like, "For March 19th, I kept quiet," or "Your secret's safe." He was being extorted. With money taken from me. Joel said we could use this in a civil suit. Not only could I sue my dad for fraud, but I could now argue emotional distress and financial damages from identity theft and exposure to blackmail. We filed the case 2 weeks later. That's when everything exploded. The lawsuit went public faster than I expected. Joel told me it could take months, maybe a year, to even get a court date, but the moment we filed, word got out in our town. Fort Wayne isn't that big. My dad had worked the same mail route for 22 years. Everyone knew him. But now people were whispering. The worst part? My mom still defended him. Even when the news about Lisa came out. Even after I showed her the notes from the PayPal transfers. "That woman tricked him," she said. "She was a con artist. She probably threatened him. He used my name, my future, for her." "I know," she whispered. "But if you go through with this, you'll destroy all of us." That was the moment I realized something else. She knew. Maybe not the details. But she had known something was wrong. Maybe not the blackmail, but definitely the loan. Maybe even from the beginning. She let it happen. A week later, Joel called me again. We got a response. From Lisa. My stomach twisted. She'd received a notice of subpoena. We were forcing her to testify. Instead, she sent a letter to the court asking for immunity in exchange for testimony. She was ready to talk. The judge didn't grant full immunity, but agreed to a conditional hearing. Joel and I went to meet her in a private deposition. She showed up late, wearing sunglasses inside and chewing gum like it was a power move. She looked older than I expected. Mid-40s maybe. Blonde. Leaned into the "I used to be hot" vibe, but she was still sharp. She didn't even sit down at first. "You want the truth," she said. "He came to me. Told me he needed money. Told me his credit was shot but his son was going to college and maybe we could borrow some of that clean slate." "You forged it?" I asked. She laughed. "No. He did. I just watched. He practiced your signature for days. Asked your mom for a copy of your old learner's permit. Said he needed it for something." My knees went weak. "And the money?" Joel asked. She shrugged. "We went to Chicago. We stayed at Caesars. Bought TVs, paid off some of my credit cards. Then he got weird. Guilty. Started paying me off to stay quiet." She leaned back in her chair. "He told me once, he's got his whole life ahead of him. He'll never notice." The court ordered a full investigation after her deposition. Between the forged signature, the financial records, and Lisa's testimony, we had a real case. Then something else happened. My dad got fired. The post office opened an internal investigation once the court filings went public. Even though the fraud was personal, the scandal was enough for them to let him go. 22 years. Gone. He called me. He didn't yell. He cried. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. "You're killing me." "You already killed something," I said. "You killed my trust." "I'm sorry. I messed up." "No. You betrayed me. And you kept lying. Even when I gave you a chance to come clean." He hung up. My brother called again. This time he didn't sound angry. "He's drinking himself to death," he said. "Then maybe he should get help," I said. Like a grown-up. A few days later, Joel found something else. My dad had taken out a second loan. In my name, another $15,000. From a sketchy online lender. Just a few months after the first. That one had gone into default immediately. I never saw that money either. We added it to the lawsuit. Now I wasn't just fighting to fix my credit. I was fighting to expose everything. Every lie. Every secret. And we weren't done yet. The court date came 11 months after we first filed. By then, I'd spent over $8,000 on legal fees. My credit was still trash. I had to pull out of a house offer I'd made with my girlfriend. We broke up not long after. She said she couldn't be part of this anymore. It was too dark, too bitter, and honestly, couldn't blame her. I wasn't the same person. The day of the hearing, my dad showed up in a cheap suit that didn't fit. He looked thinner. His hands trembled when he sat down. My mom wasn't there. I didn't even acknowledge him. Joel laid out everything. The forged documents. The financial records. Lisa's sworn deposition. The second loan. The proof of identity theft. My dad's lawyer tried to argue family hardship. He said my dad had been desperate. That it wasn't malicious. The judge didn't buy it. He asked my father one question. "Did you sign your son's name?" My dad didn't even try to deny it. He just nodded. Yes, that was it. The judge ruled in my favor. The court declared both loans fraudulent. He ordered them removed from my credit record immediately. My dad was ordered to pay restitution for the total amount $42,000 plus legal costs. But it didn't end there. The state prosecutor picked up the case. Lisa had turned over copies of texts, emails, voice recordings. There was more than enough for a felony fraud charge. 2 months later, my dad was arrested. He pled guilty. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, suspended down to 6 months served in county, plus probation and community service. The post office stripped his pension. He lost everything. My mom still won't speak to me. She says I betrayed the family. But I remember what she said when I first confronted her, "Be grateful it wasn't worse." That line stuck with me. So I got it printed. Framed. I hung it above the front door of the home I finally bought a year later under my own name. Paid for with my own money. Clean credit. Clean slate. No ghosts. No debt. Just that one quote waiting for me every time I walk out the door. Be grateful it wasn't worse. I am. Because now it's finally over.